Everyone hates the Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, and the DLC surprisingly did not change that.
Release of Suicide Squad was, by any metric, a total disaster. Rocksteady's previous game, Batman Arkham Knight, may have been a little divisive at launch, but the game sold gangbusters and cemented their legacy as a top-tier development studio. They could have done anything, but somebody, somewhere, probably in the upper echelons of Warner Brothers, Inc., put them to work on a live service Suicide Squad game, and the rest is unfortunately history. This game was in development for 7 years, cost at least $100 million to make.
Only 7 years and only $100 million? I'm not even joking. That's kind of cheap and fast for modern day disasters from the AAA industry.
And when it came out, nobody cared. On Steam, the player count peaked at 13,459 players and is since.
I mean, that is a disaster that is definitely worth talking, because that is pretty much no one. No one decided to even try this game. Amazing.
It's dropped to around 600 on average. It barely charted on Xbox and PlayStation. UK sales were pretty soft, and Warner Brothers straight up said the game has fallen short of our expectations during a financial service call. For a live service game, that is not good. It's significantly worse than how Avengers performed when it came out, and that game is considered a total failure.
Well, after Avengers and everyone got burnt with that piece of garbage, yeah, people were kind of hesitant about another live service superhero game. That is for sure.
Failure by Square Enix and, everyone else. And in pretty much every way, Suicide Squad has done much worse. It may end up being one of the biggest video game bombs of all time.
Hey, that's what happens when people get burned too many times. Even the dumbest learn to not touch the fire.
I said this in a previous video about these live service games. The point is to attract whales. That's where the real money is. But I don't think you can attract whales to, a dead game with 600 people in it. And I think that's a lesson that a bunch of these companies are having to learn. Because for a live service game, player retention is, the most important thing. If nobody's playing the game, there's no reason to keep the service element of it going. That's how these games make their money in the long run.
Well, the most important part why the player count matters for a live game in general is because no one's gonna go and play a game with no players. Why would you? It could shut down at any point. It's gonna be hard to find matches. There's not gonna be a community. There's gonna be nothing of that. What would you choose to play? A game with 1,000 players or a game with 100,000 players? It's not even a competition. No one's playing that 1,000 player game.
So it's in Rocksteady's best interest to do something, anything to turn this game around and bring players back for the long haul. Season 1 was their first, best, and possibly only chance to save this game. If they came out hard with lots of new content, missions, and modes, they would at least maybe be able to prove that they're serious about supporting the game in the long term, and that the meager amount of content in the main game is just because they were.
If you don't know why he's saying this, if they would have, because they didn't. They did not. It's a disaster. Season 1 was a disaster on every level possible.
We're saving all the good stuff for the updates, and this was not how it played out. And, the pre-release stuff didn't inspire a lot of confidence, but at least they were doing something interesting. They brought the Joker back. He is literally a playable character.
Yeah, and this is hashtag no one's Joker also, which is hilarious.
So, maybe there was a chance Rocksteady could pull this off? No, we all know that's not what happened. Season 1...
Yeah, the best part is the Joker has 0 interactions with Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn has, you guessed it, 0 interactions with the Joker. What's the point of having Joker and Harley Quinn in one room if they're not even going to interact with each other? Well, I don't know, and nor do the developers.
It has been out for a week, and we all know how things actually went down at this point. Everyone hated it. Even many of the game's most ardent defenders couldn't bring themselves to try to justify how miserable and bare bones Season 1 is. It is without any hyperbole, and I stress this.
True. It's hilarious, honestly. Arguably, more dedicated fans of the Suicide Squad left the game than new people came in. because of how bad Season 1 was.
One of the worst additions to a live service game I have ever played. Even if the Joker is actually kind of fun to control.
You don't want to rescue my Joker, and I don't plan to relinquish him.
That's right. Quit while you're ahead.
You see, the problem here is all other things. Things do not start well. The game starts with one of the cheapest motion comic cutscenes I have ever seen. It's meant to be a big introduction to the first actual season of the game. This thing, it's meant to herald the start of the live service content.
But you know what they say about good intentions. You can't kill them all!
Looks like something out of Kong Skull Island. Like, I guess it's technically maybe a step up.
Damn, that's an insult and a half, boys.
From that Walking Dead game with the bad cutscenes, but not by a lot. Like, these are the types of cutscenes you see in the most bottom-of-the-barrel shovelware type stuff. Or also Redfall, if you don't define it as that. I don't know.
Oh man, Redfall was special, man. When your game gets compared to Redfall, you know you done goofed. When your game gets compared to that Walking Dead thing with the stupid cutscenes, you know you goofed. And Suicide Squad gets compared to everything. Ouch, man. Do you need some mice for that burn or something? Woof.
We put a lot of money into Redfall for no good reason. Like, there's good motion comic style intros out there, but this is not one of them. You see something like this, and all anyone is going to think is that the developers just didn't care enough to make a real cutscene. And if the people making the game don't
I don't even think the artists cared enough to actually make art.
care, why are we supposed to care? It may sound like I'm exaggerating, but honestly, look at it. It is hideous. The Joker looks like an adult alfalfa. Like, what did they do here? Look how they slaughtered my boy. I don't want to front load this with a ton of Joker talk, but it's kind of unavoidable. Who signed off on this design? I mean, yeah, tastes are subjective and all.
Well, tastes are subjective until the point where literally almost everyone says this is bad and stupid. You should feel bad about yourself. Then tastes become pre-objective.
All that, but this is kind of, I mean, it's past what is fine. He is absurdly over-designed, even in comparison to other characters in this game. Everyone else looks vaguely like real people in costumes, but this guy looks like a cartoon. The motion comic intro does not do him favors, might I add. In-game, he's slightly more tolerable to look at, but not here. Once that experiment in aversion therapy is over with, the game bombards you with pop-ups showing all the exciting new things in the expansion. It's just one new screen after another showing all this stuff that's going to be in the new season. Wowie, wow. New weapons to unlock. A new status effect. Ah, cool. Oh, more Riddler challenges. Well, I can't wait to do.
What's the point of poison status effect if the game if the point of the game is to literally one-shot everything anyway?
Do those. Is there anything else? Oh, 6 quote-unquote new incursions, which are slightly altered versions of the same incursions that were already in the game. Hold on, here's something. It says there's new strongholds. That's interesting. Oh, sorry, those aren't until episode 2. What? You
Don't worry about it. No new content. Don't worry about it. I love how I think the developers just gave up honestly on this. Everyone saw the writing on the wall, and it's like, no, there's no point in making any new content. No miracle can pull us out of this situation that we're in. We're literally the new world, and that's really bad also.
You thought they'd give you the entire season of content at once? You fool? Are you crazy? This is
New World at least has an enjoyable gameplay loop until you get max level and then it turns to complete shit. This is just bad on every level.
Episode 1. They're gonna add the rest of the content later. Where have I heard that before? Alright, so where's the Joker? Oh, you have to unlock him. The big new character in the DLC that's meant to bring players back in, and you don't even get him at the start.
Obviously, how are they gonna get money if they just give you the Joker? You can't just give people what you sell the season to be. How that doesn't make money.
Part of the season. Instead,
and this thing already is leaking money. Even if this only cost $100 million to develop, which is, again, is by the way super cheap in modern times, Man, they're not even recuperating 2 mil from their investment. Oh no, this is not making money. If the peak was 13k, that means maybe 100... maybe 100,000 copies were sold. Maybe. At best. Maybe 100,000 copies were sold. Even at $70... that's not that's 7 mil. That's not a lot. Okay? That is not a lot.
Instead, you have to grind up to your episode rank to unlock the Joker. Everybody starts at 0, so you have to get to rank 35 to access the mission to get the Joker. Rank 35. The only way to increase your...
Let me explain how much that takes. Roughly $200. You were excited about the Joker? Well, I bet you're excited about playing $200 of this bad game to unlock the Joker. AKA, the only reason you even wanted to come back to it and try it because there was the Joker and maybe that would be fun. But no, you have to play 200 hours to unlock it. Talk about disrespecting the people that you should respect.
Your season rank is to grind and also to grind. Incursions and random patrol missions give you 1 rank each. Sometimes more if the mission takes longer, but there are some missions that do not even net you a full rank. Oh yeah, and incursions cost points to enter, so you have to pay up every time. I cannot overstate how boring and tedious this all is. There is nothing new or interesting to do. You're just doing the same old nest exterminations, car transports, and random patrols, and everything else that was already in the game again, only now there's some Joker-themed crap around the city for some reason.
Yay. Ha ha. Indeed. Ha ha.
I guess it's supposed to be a Joker-themed Elseworld or something. There's like presents and wrapping paper around, which is like, you know, Santa's domain rather than the Joker. Some giant playing cards around. Like, it's like when games add seasonal Christmas stuff. I really don't know what any of this is supposed to add or even really what it is. And the grind...
True, that's so true. Games will add the most random BS for Christmas and just paint it red. That is such a classic move.
Is painful. The game does give you a way to skip it, though. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Can you guess how? Can you guess how? You can just go into the store and straight up buy the Joker for $10 using Luther coins. Seriously, Luther coins. That's what they're calling the currency. You can just...
That is though funny, I will admit.
Skip the grind for a nominal fee, and man is it tempting because holy hell, the grind is bad. They've done nothing to speed up the results screens whenever you finish a mission either, so you're always stuck waiting, staring at the screen while your character gives a pointless thumbs up, and we slowly get gear unlocks that are probably all worse than what we already have, and the game taunts you with these seasonal progress things that would make the continental drift seem like speedy progress, and finally the game lets you do something else. Listen,
You know what I hate? And I will probably stop playing really fast if they actually do this. This right here. You do something, you get this battle pass or whatever kind of pass you want to call it, experience, and you rank up, and it's like, oh, you don't have the paid version of the battle pass? Well, it's a shame, you're not getting this reward now. Oh, I hate it when they do stuff like this. If a game does this, I'm out. I'm probably out. It's probably not worth it. It's predatory. It's dumb. It doesn't respect me as a player. And it's just really, really saddening.
That would make the continental drift seem like speedy progress. And finally, the game lets you do something else. Listen, I know there are people on Reddit that say unlocking the Joker is easy. They say it doesn't take that long, and that people like me are exaggerating about how bad the unlock progress is. And you know what? I'm not gonna say they're wrong. But they were able to grind out the necessary ranks pretty quickly because they've been playing and enjoying the game. That is in contrast to me, who beat Brainiac, then promptly noped out of the game without the intention of playing it more. I didn't even have a max level character going into Season 1. My situation was not ideal, and because of that, it took me way more than an hour and a half to get to level 35. Way longer. Like 4 hours plus, which is way too long to spend grinding this.
Oh, $200 was to get everything from the battle pass. Yeah.
Same half dozen missions over and over. I was probably doing something wrong. Fine, I know, I accept.
No, He was not doing anything wrong. This is what you do. You just grind the same missions over and over again. This is literally the loop.
That, but seriously, even if it did only take 90 minutes, that is unacceptable. This stuff got old in the main game where you only had to do it once or twice. Suicide Squad has barely enough content for the 12 hours or so it takes to finish the campaign, yet it somehow expects us to grind for potentially hundreds of hours more. To actually unlock Joker, you still have to beat Brainiac again. Only instead of just being a reskinned Flash fight.
Yeah, now, yeah.
It's now a reskinned Green Lantern fight. And I have to wonder, what's Rocksteady going to do when they run out of bosses to recycle? Just recycle them again? So you unlock...
I hope so, because that would be hilarious, honestly.
...the Joker, and there it is, the first and only actual cutscene in the game, and it's bizarre. The Joker never actually interacts with the other characters, including Harley Quinn. They all sort of just talk around him, and then he talks to himself. It's really disjointed and weird. At least playing as the Joker is legitimately pretty fun. Like, he plays like everyone else. It is a shooter after all, but the movement powers are good. Like, they're fun to use. He has a rocket that you can use twice to jump high up. He has an umbrella that lets you glide through the air, also doubles as a rocket board. I don't know why the Joker's main tool is an umbrella over, like, the Penguin, who famously uses umbrellas, but whatever.
True. True, the Penguin does use an umbrella. True, he has a gun in it and everything. True.
Works. Fine. You'd think the addition of the Joker would add some interesting banter to the team, but he's weirdly quiet. Even past the cutscene, nobody in the game really acknowledges him or responds to him. He's got the few...
Of course they don't. That would require effort to code and make. Does this look like effort? Does this look like someone who cared made it? Absolutely not.
Lines by far. Mechanically, I think there's something to the character, but with everything else, from the narrative to the dialogue to the design, it falls really flat. Basically, all this season has going for it is the Joker, and they don't just give you the Joker. They make you do some really tedious work to get him. Compare that to the Avengers, which just lets you use new characters right away. Remember how bad we were all dunking on that?
Yeah, and then they understood, wait a minute, this doesn't give us money. It's all about money at the end of the day, isn't it?
That game? Yeah, it can get worse. Like, the Avengers is the lowest bar to clear, and compared to it, the entire season looks bad. In Avengers, at least the new characters like Hawkeye and Black Panther got their own missions. They got new enemies and bosses and mechanics. They didn't force you to grind the same missions over and over just to get the privilege of unlocking a new character. But you do here in Suicide Squad. To top off the parade of disappointment, the newly introduced Battle Pass, look at it. There are free and paid versions, 76 tiers, and an
disappointing.
An eternity of grinding. Every single tier costs 1,000 BP to unlock. And do you know how much BP you get from most of these missions? 50. That's 20 missions to complete one Battle Pass tier, and there are 76 of them. There are ways to speed the process up. Completing contracts is probably the fastest way to get a lot of BP, but it's still an ungodly grind because, as already established, there's just not that much to actually do in this game. At least the Battle Pass doesn't expire. That's something, I guess. Most of the stuff is just, it's...
Well, you can't buy the Battle Pass if it's expired, so, you know, at some point, if you're gonna play that long, you're gonna just buy things from the Battle Pass. Because the reality of all these games is, the idea is just to keep you playing. That's why new content needs to be added. They don't actually intentionally put in that many things that people are gonna 100% buy because they're forced to. Now there are, obviously, like the Joker unlock is a pretty obvious one that they kind of want to force you to do. But the reality is, that doesn't typically happen. Because all of these games know one thing. The longer someone plays, the higher the chance that they become a paying player becomes. This is the reality of all these games.
It's junk, too. There's like one new costume for each character and a lot of reskins. Oh, and there are banners, though, so totally worth it, right? Wait a second. Where's Captain Boomerang's costume? Everyone else got a new one, but for some reason, he's not on the pass at all. They just didn't give him
Well, he's also named Captain Boomerang, and he doesn't really use a boomerang all that often. The way the King Shark is not a shark.
a costume. Incredible. I think you get the idea. Rocksteady had to prove a lot with the first season. Like, this was their opportunity to put their best foot forward and show the world what this game really was built for. Like, actual new missions, substantial cutscenes, new enemies, interesting rewards that, I mean, seem like obvious additions. Could have.
Hell no. Have you seen the mods on weapons? They're not interesting in the slightest, okay? This is if Diablo 4 had a baby with itself and it became the new replacement for Diablo 4. That's how bad the affixes on the items is. Anyway, that was Game Ranks. 10 out of 10. Man, what a disappointment. This was Quizzer Sid. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, Have a nice day. Bye-bye.